This is the video review for the Ultraman transforming eggs and Minitruck. So Paul at Sirtoys sent me these with my last order as kind of a freebie, and I've been procrastinating on reviewing these. So sorry, Paul. These aren't Transformers exactly, they're kind of a departure. So let me just go through these real quickly. So each one of these eggs comes with one of these well, you kind of strap them to your wrists. They're made for children, so they're a little tight on me, but they just fit on your arm, which is pretty cool. And they have a magnet in them. And these things just have like a transforming gimmick, so they auto-transform, which is really cool. And the platform itself, the wrist strap, also has like a transforming gimmick where it spins. So I'm just going to show that off with one of these. So we could just start with Ultraman here, and when you put him on the platform, he'll just automatically transform. And then you could see that the platform also rotates. That actually worked out pretty well. They don't always work on the first time like that. So you can see this is what he looks like when he's unfolded from his egg form. And to get him back into egg, you just like bend his knees, and then his head is going to fold backwards. There's like a cavity back here, but his head doesn't stay in there. And then these eggshells, you've just kind of got to finagle into place. And then there's a spring-loaded gimmick in the ankle here, and that's what holds the shell halves in place. And then everything just unfolds because they're all on springs. And then he does have like some articulation. So he's got these shoulder pivots that go up and down, and then he's got kind of an elbow joint, but that's obviously for the transformation, so you can fold him up. And then the neck, as you saw. And then to reset the wrist strap, you just turn it, and it's on this giant screw, and then it'll lock in place. Okay, so let's look at some of the Kaiju. I'm not actually very familiar with Ultraman, so I don't know what any of these are called. And I think it kind of helps to maybe hold this in place. Oh, and there you go, there's a misfire. So he didn't really unlock. Okay, let's give that another try. This time I'm just going to drop it, and that seems to help. There he goes. So I don't know what this one's called, so I don't know who this Kaiju is, but he's one of the better looking ones. He's got kind of this really cool dragon form, good sculpting. And then he doesn't really have any articulation, except for maybe this tail, you can count that. But he looks pretty cool. They really don't scale very well because Ultraman is just a lot bigger than all the Kaiju, which seems kind of unfair. Okay, and you get this guy, who's I guess like a evil Ultraman, who maybe turns good, I'm not sure. And then he's got the same articulation as Ultraman, and he's the same size, so he actually scales. And then finally, here's a closer look at his details. And this one has arm pivots or shoulder pivots, and that's it on the articulation for this guy. And then his tail didn't quite deploy. But this one looks really cool. He looks like kind of an Ultraman that turned into a monster, just kind of the eyes has that kind of visor look to it. But yeah, these designs are really interesting. The sculpt work is pretty cool to look at. So if you're an Ultraman fan, these might be your kind of thing. Even though they're mostly just static figures that auto-transform, and then you fold them back up, and then you can see again the size difference. The Kaiju are just really too small. They should have made those bigger. Okay, and that brings us to our Minitruck. Not much to this guy. His head can kind of be removed, but this is just part of the transformation. His head's just going to stick out like this, but you can remove it for a cleaner truck mode. And then he's very basic. His arms and legs just tuck into the back here. And then you just swivel down the waist. And then the hips are on ball joints. So there's the leg articulation. And then the arms just fold forward. And those are also on ball joints. So you can get forward motion and then like an outward as well. But no elbows, no knees. And then the head can also rotate. But kind of a cool looking robot mode. So in hand, all of these have kind of the same quality of feel. They're definitely not up to Transformer standards, but they feel pretty good in hand. I'd probably rate them at a 7. They're kind of averagey feeling. They don't feel super cheap, but I think if you play with them a lot, there are chances for breakages, maybe on these like little tabs and things on the wings that hold everything in place for egg mode. But they feel pretty good in hand. They don't feel like a typical knockoff toy, so the quality is pretty decent. And the gimmicks are kind of fun too. So you can even when they're already transformed, you can just put them on these platforms and they can kind of like spin. And the gimmicks, I think the gimmicks would probably wear out over time, but they seem to be holding up pretty well. So if you're interested in these toys, I'll put the link in the description so you can order your own at Sirtoys.